going to show you today a quick video on how to repair your headphones. If you're like me, you get your MindLab headphones and they break all the time. And just to show you what I mean, if you turn on your headphones, you get that nice tone. It tells you everything's working. If you plug in your headphones, you should be able to hear them. And the light comes on, but you're not hearing anything. So usually the way that happens, you plug the end into your unit, into your metal detector, and as you're metal detecting over time, you constantly are bending this cord right there. And almost every time that wire right there where that bend gets kinked, you can see this one sliding off, and the wires inside there break, and then it no longer works. So I went on Amazon. I think these run like $2 a piece. I bought 5 of them to save on shipping, just so I had some extras. And I'm gonna put a new one on, and we'll see if it fixes these headphones. So here's the supplies I'm gonna need: wire clippers. I have some alligator clamps. I'm going to use these a little bit later on to hold wires in place when I do some soldering. Need some solder. And this is the stuff I got in an electrical soldering kit at RadioShack back in the day. So you can see what kind of solder I use. So it's 0.32 diameter, 6040 rosin core solder. RadioShack. Now defunct. And I'm going to be using one of these cable connectors. And of course, you need a solder gun. It has a little tray here just to keep it off of the table when it's hot. And I got the whole thing at RadioShack. Here's my model in case you want to use the same one. Basically plug it in, let it warm up. Pretty easy, pretty simple, straightforward. One last thing that might be helpful is a nice sharp razor blade. It helps to cut the sheath. When you first get the piece here out of the package, you're just going to take it, unscrew it, and you'll see that there's a little piece of plastic on the end there. You can just slide that off. And there's 2 different terminals. All we need to do is solder our wires onto each of these terminals. Before you do that though, you want to slide this onto the wire. So start by clipping. Just to show people, the black wire on the original was completely broke, and you can see these 2 were just dangling by a thread. I'm going to take my razor. I'm just going to slice it down. I'm just going to kind of pin it against the paper here and slice down the center. So that I can kind of open up the cable. Okay, once you get all the rest of the wires off, just trim off the extra. So you have 3 nice little wires. And just take the electrical clips here, and on each one of these, I'm just going to strip off a little bit. So I have 3 wires, all with a little bit of exposed copper. So I'm going to show you guys a quick diagram just to show you what is what on these. but basically the tip connects to the left ear, and that's going to be the white wire. The sleeve connects to the right ear. That's going to be this second tallest. So this is the tip, the shortest one. This will be the right or sleeve, the tallest one. And then this third spot over here, that's where the black wire goes. That's the ground. So this part's pretty important. Before you start soldering anything on, you need to slide the wire into the casing for the headphone jack. Do that first. Get that on there, because you're going to need to be able to screw this on later, and you won't be able to slide it on later. So we want to make sure that we don't have too much excess wire hanging out. One of the things that you'll notice about this is that there's actually two little tabs at the end. This is going to be bent over to kind of clamp the wire in place, and you don't want a bunch of this wire hanging off. So what you're going to want to do is kind of estimate as best you can where that clamp is going to go, and then cut the wires accordingly and restrip them so that they reach each one of these respective terminals where they're supposed to. Okay, so I measured and went ahead and clamped it down, and you can see I've stripped that wire for the ground, kind of run it through that little hole, and I'll strip the other two wires and also connect those temporarily using our alligator clamps. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the wires just barely kind of poking through the hole, both the red and the white. And I'll come back to the ground wire once I get these two soldered. Alright everyone, so I wasn't able to show you exactly how I do the soldering. I just couldn't hold on to the phone and solder. It takes two hands. The trick is make sure that the soldering iron is good and hot before you ever even attempt to solder, otherwise it'll kind of just end up with a drop of solder that sits on top of the metal. Hold the iron on the copper wire and the contact metal for a good 5-10 seconds before you then take the little bit of solder and just kind of tap it on there. And then once you see the little bead, and as long as it spreads out nice, you should be good. So some of the challenges, if you're having troubles, are if you're getting it beating up, you're not keeping the heat on it long enough. And other than that, it's pretty simple. And now we can just slide the sheath back on. This is what it looks like all finished. It's got that nice little spring there. And now let's test it out. Here's the... I heard it. It works. Alright guys, there you have it. How to fix your headphones.